the map called Verge, all right? And as I'm sure you'll explain, this is a reimagining. Where does it come from, and what are we offering this time around?
So Verge is pretty awesome. It's like you said, a reimagining of Bonsai, which is a map from World at War.
Yep.
And we were really excited to bring this back, and fans have been asking for this because it offers some of those challenges just built into the map. It has really high verticality from Bonsai with this bridge, this cave system. There's a lot of ways to flank around. But Verge, how we've reimagined it and transformed it, is a desolate wasteland set in a post-apocalyptic future where these two warring nations...
So it's a happy map.
It's a very happy map.
Okay, got it. All right.
So these two warring nations are fighting over the last good water source. And now what that really means is they wake up at 9 a.m. and they clock in, grab your weapon, go to the bridge, fight the other side at 5 p.m., okay, clock out and go back to sleep, rinse and repeat. But it's got a very cool look. It's very, very different than other maps that we've ever done before visually.
Well, whenever you talk about reimagining maps, Nuketown or Skyjacked, talk to me a little bit about core movement. How does core movement factor into Verge? How did you take something that was, I mean, when you think about World at War and the original setting of Bonsai, how did you look to translate that this time around?
Bonsai from World at War was one of my favorite maps from that game. And when we looked at that, looking back, it's got the bridge, like he said, so you've got the verticality there. In World at War, we didn't have thrust jump, so you couldn't really interact with the ground level and the bridge. We had elements of water in World at War. We had no swimming. Now we have thrust jump, swimming. So we look at that and we say, how can we kind of bring that up to Black Ops 3?
Sure.
So we've still got the classic bridge. You can clock in, go to work, fight the other side. But now with wall running, if you want to be clever, maybe you've got some advanced movement, you can wall run along those sides of the bridge. May face a sniper, but if you've got the moves, if you've got the skills to pay the bills, you may make it across. And then at the same time, if you jump off the bridge in Bonsai and World at War, probably going to die. Now we've got the thrust jump, we've got the water, so you're going to be able to bail out of the bridge on both sides, dive into the water, you can kind of flank around. So we brought some of those elements, the swimming, which we love, the verticality of the bridge, and kind of married those two, which wasn't possible in Bonsai.
Very cool. All right, well let's move on to Spire. All right, so this takes place in a suborbital airport terminal.
Yeah.
Suborbital.
It is very sexy looking in that it's a very, very clean and futuristic take. Lots of curves, lots of very interesting shapes and architecture.
Sure.
But the premise is that in the future, of course, they could build these huge spires, and they've built these airports off of these spires to get into suborbital and get around the Earth, in minutes, basically. So you're fighting on one of these terminals, basically, in this airport, and it's pretty awesome how it is. You fight in a lot of clean areas, you're fighting through these terminals, and it feels like an airport, but it also feels very unique because there's a lot of core movement that we've done in it as well.
Well, in terms of that core movement and some of the engagements, what kind of engagements can we expect in Spire?
We always try to cater to all gameplay styles in our maps. We want everybody from the snipers to the guys running around with the baseball bat to be successful. With this one, it's interesting because you've got one side of the map where you're going to have these opposing overwatches, which are just obviously going to be great for sniper battles. Then you've got the other side where we've got some nice meaty cover for you to work up to. So shotguns, SMGs, baseball bats, those are going to work on that side. And then as far as the core movement goes, we kind of looked back to Combine, which is a very popular Black Ops 3 map, kind of a staple at this point. And we looked at that and we said, okay, we did that outer wall run where you were able to flank around. How do we make that more interesting? And in Spire, we kind of took that element and developed it more and turned that Combine's wall run into a destination. So you'll be able to kind of bell out through the middle or down the catwalks on the exterior of the map and set up shop at the refueling station. It's that side has some longer lines of sight, so you're going to be able to post up there with a sniper rifle.
Well, how does that factor into some of the risk reward that you guys like to design into maps?
Yeah, sure. Risk reward, we're going to have a hard point in that destination there. So it's the reward is winning the game if you're able to take that hard point. Obviously, it's a little risky because you can't just walk there. You're going to have to hit the wall run. You're going to have to use your thrust. But if you are able to get in there and root the enemy out, you're going to be able to hold that down.
It's part of the part of that is the challenge in pushing ourselves, is taking that. Combine worked really well with the, how we integrated core movement. Like Matt said, is how do you +1 that? How do you make it better? And we're actively trying every single map to just figure out better ways and interesting ways, and it's really just a tool set, right? Hey, how we did that and how we did it in other maps is really interesting. How do we combine them and push and pull them? And maybe we move out of our comfort zone. When we first started playtesting it felt different.
We're definitely still learning and developing these interesting gameplay scenarios.
Yeah.
Third map, Rift. I dig this one because you're combining a lot of very interesting concepts, future military complex over a volcano.
Yes, it's I don't want to say
hyper-realistic.
It's super realistic, yes. But it's got a good contrast to the pack, and we've never done a map, in Black Ops like this. It is very, very militaristic, industrial. There's girders everywhere. It's dirty. It's not a place you want to be, and it's sort of intimidating. You've got this volcano, this caldera that you're over, and the whole map is basically a suspended rail system where they are getting these minerals out and they are supplying the war effort by just actively pulling things out of the volcano and transporting them all around the world. But because of that locale, it's offered some interesting things that we can do with some of the core movement and overall map design.
Yep, I can speak to that. I assume that's what the hand gesture was. So this one is, we're really forcing the engagements on Rift. If you run forward, you will meet an enemy. It's not like some of the other maps where you're going to have kind of these exterior routes where you can just completely lose your enemy. In this one, we've got what I've been referring to as kind of soft flanks, to where you're going to run into that enemy. But we give you these opportunities to be clever and take the middle, for example. The middle is going to be a very head-on battle. But at the same time, we're trying something new with a wall run in the middle that's going to allow you to kind of be clever, and if you've got the skill set, you can kind of pull one of those soft flanks and surprise the enemy. But it's very high risk.
Yeah, this map is very different. This one, the challenge was how do you get as head-on engagement as possible, where you run forward and the only way through is killing the enemy or finding some clever way to use the core movement mechanics, which is very different than the maps we shipped and even DLC 1. And we really accomplished that, where each of the lanes, you're going to hit an enemy and you have two options. You either kill him or figure out a clever way to use core movement to get around him. So it's very different. It's got a really cool vibe and feel.
Yeah, I love the look of this map. It's dark, gritty, and when you're playing, you almost feel the heat from the magma below.
Liquid hot magma. All right, last map, Knockout. This one, love this one. Miles, tell us a little bit about the setting.
So Knockout is a really fun map. On top of the gameplay stuff that's just really unique is it looks like a traditional map, Asian-style Shaolin temple from the outset. And you got this tournament map that's got blood and teeth on it. But the twist to this map and the contrast is that it's actually a privately owned island. All of our reference images were from your private island.
Okay.
But it's basically this guy that has built this really authentic Shaolin temple because he's really into martial arts, and he hires people to come and fight for him on his tournament. But he also loves the 70s, and he loves old school kung fu.
Again, the parallels are amazing here.
So the interiors, there's one where it's a disco. The guy has his own personal disco with the floors light up, and he's got a disco ball. So you're outside and you're looking at this very traditional Asian urn, this dragon that's very intimidating, but then you can bust a move by going into the disco for a few minutes, slaying a few people, and then cut out to the rooftops where you can use some of the core movement.
Enter the Dragon Goes Disco?
Yeah. I can speak to the gameplay. Being a student of the martial arts myself. It's not true.
Only in your mind.
Yeah. I try. No, so this one is interesting because kind of one of the core concepts of the map is King of the Hill. So a lot of times we'll have these, say on Spire, for example, we have these two opposing Overwatches. And in Knockout, we've got this central trophy room where you would keep your trophies. And that's the position you want to fight over. If you're able to to secure that position, you're really going to have a lay of the land. You're going to be able to lock it down. You're going to have these exterior rear wall runs on the back side of this trophy room. And then we've got a nice balcony that kind of overwatches the center. I think back to a Black Ops 2 map, which is Slums. It's got kind of a Slums vibe with that big center courtyard. I loved that. So with that courtyard, you kind of think back to the Blue Room of Slums. And Knockout, you're gonna be able to have that kind of raised platform in the trophy room and kind of see where everybody's going. And there may or may not be some gongs in this map. I don't know.
Yeah, this one again is constantly pushing, and it's all about you want to get to this destination. We do a good job across all the maps of having really good defendable locations that you want to get to, and this map has that, but the King of the Hill aspect is something we really went for. You want to get into that room, you want to get on the mat in the center, and you want to hold it down, and that's where you want to be. So there's constant conflict always in there and holding it down, but it's very hard to do. So that's where the risk and the reward comes. If you can and your team can hold it down, you're going to be successful.
Awesome. Any closing thoughts on anything multiplayer?
Closing thoughts.
I think I can speak for myself and the teams. I think we're extremely proud of this pack. I think we've continually elevated ourselves on the design and the visuals and are putting so much into each map that I think players are really responding to that from DLC 1 and the uniqueness we brought there is we're bringing that tenfold. That would be the main thing, and then the other thing is shout out to Michael Barnes and Rizzo for helping get some of the video stuff going the last minute.
Everybody was up late, and
That's
thanks
right.
to you too, because I saw some pretty late night emails, so thank you very much. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
very much, John.
All right, so that is multiplayer. Before we move on, a few quick announcements. Not sure if you guys noticed, but yesterday we announced that this weekend we have a double weekend. Double XP, double Weapon XP goes live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific and runs through Monday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific. So if you had any weekend plans, might need to do a little readjusting. But wait, there's more. So this weekend we are also running a free trial of DLC 1 Awakening for PS4 players. You will have the opportunity to jump into Gauntlet, Splash, Rise, the reimagined Skyjacked, as well as have access to Der Eisendrache. And lots of gameplay in store for you for DLC 1. Oh yeah. And that, again, goes live for PS4 players tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, runs through Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific. But all that talk about Der Eisendrache, we're going to have a special guest at NoahJ456 who's going to jump into a little bit of Eisendrache gameplay in a bit. It's addictive. I just need to say it. But we're going to chat zombies a little bit with none other than Mr. Jason Blundell, director of Zombies. Jason, welcome.
Thank you, John. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Fantastic.
So, Jason,
Yeah.
DLC 2 Eclipse has a new Zombies experience. Tell us, what are we giving to fans in DLC 2?
So DLC 2, we're going to the Island of Despair. That's the only sound I could think of to kind of convey the scariness and spookiness of this map. So it's Zetsubo no Shima. I'm doing that to mess with people so they have a hard time pronouncing it again. We started that with the Eisendrache. Zetsubo no Shima, DLC 2. And it is...
Very mellifluous.
It's good use of vocabulary right there. It's, being serious for a second,
Sorry.
it's probably one of the scariest maps we've done.
Really?
I can't be serious that much.
Okay.
It really, the atmosphere, the feeling of it, the artistry really behind creating a map that is more fundamentally disturbing to people. Now, we've kind of gone there in Zombies in the past. Obviously, we're dealing with the undead. But listening to the fans, they were talking about, how do we get back to the roots, how back to maps which are unnerving by their pure physicality. And so that's what Zetsubo no Shima is really about. It's Shinonuma, which is all the way back into World at War. And their experiments on this island. And our crew, our gang, are turning up there to find out what perversions of nature have taken place.
Well, you had me at hello. Well,
I just wanted to say perversions of nature.
I hear they opened up at Coachella,
yeah.
or they will be.
That's going to be a meme now, isn't it?
Pretty much. Pretty soon you're going to have a little interview time with Noah J456, but before we jump over with him,
Yes.
you brought a little something special today.
Did I?
You did.
What?
Yes,
Oh, yes, we did.
we did.
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna mix it up a bit. Rather than do the gameplay trailer,
Yeah.
I brought a little special asset. I say bring, I mean, we're in Treyarch, so it's here anyway. But we're going to show the intro cinematic to DLC2.
Say it isn't so.
It is so.
All right. Well, with that, the premiere of Zetsubo no Shima IGC. Enjoy.
密航者どもをデッキへ上げろ。恥さらしめが日本を裏切り陛下にあだなすとは。Take it easy, Tack. どうやって手に入れたんだこの異物を。I'm sorry. I don't speak Japanese. 誰か答えられないのか The object in your hand? It's gonna bring you nothing but pain. Believe me, I know. ネズミどもを海に叩き落とせ I am an envoy of the Emperor himself. I am no traitor! Close. Yes, a little too close. We must go now.